All right, guys, I got this two-part epoxy in this little Bucky Lastic Special. Basically squeeze it out into the bag, mix it up in the bag, and then cut the tip of the bag just slightly. I'm gonna pull this little clip out, put just a teeny little bead in there.
This is my little SubaruONLY shop. It's a DIY Subaru channel. It's a channel where all I do is Subaru builds and race Subaru vehicles in motorsport events. It's a DIY themed channel where I walk you guys through the steps to get your Subarus back on the road and hopefully do a little racing of your own. So thanks for checking out the video, guys. I really appreciate it.
Today's video is going to focus on the interior B and C pillar trim panel. Those trim panels are actually specific to coupes, which actually makes them quite rare, and my trim panel actually had a broken rear plastic tab in the back. So I'm going to walk you guys through the repair I made to that plastic tab, and then we're going to go ahead and install those rear panels into this car. Put just a teeny little bead in there, ever so gently. I don't want to put too much. A little bit in there. That's that little pocket where I have obviously the broken, it's missing the little plastic tang that sits up where this metal clip would clip onto. So I'm gonna glue this metal clip directly into this little pocket right here, because that little recessed pocket is where the bottom of this metal clip should be sitting. So I will position this metal clip in the exact correct kind of distance and depth and location. And obviously, as long as I don't put any glue, the little metal tangs right here on the side of this clip, those are the metal tangs that actually depress and need to have some spring action in them to be able to get installed into the metal little slot in the roofline of my GC8 or my 1998 RS. So as long as these little metal tangs right here in the middle can still be depressed and still have some elasticity to them, some spring to them, then this little metal tab will actually be able to do its job as if I still have that little plastic tang right there holding it in place. And I'll go ahead and set this sucker in there. Make sure it's completely sitting flush and flat. I'll add just a teeny bit more maybe on top without getting it on the tang, obviously, that needs to depress and have that spring tension, kind of the midway tang. Carefully just kind of get a little bit more on the back side here. This little Bucky Lastic Special method. I gotta be honest, guys, I'm like 41. I never heard of this method, and it's fucking brilliant. It's great. I don't know how I went my whole life and never heard of putting your epoxy into a little Ziploc baggie like this. All right, guys, that is it. I'm gonna let that set up overnight. Nice little pool of that two-part epoxy holding the bottom of this clip. Okay, guys, it's had a few days to dry. This is that plastic clip that was broken off, and I actually glued the bottom of this metal clip into this little slot right here. That little spring action is what's going to happen when this little metal tab is slipped into that little slot in the roofline of our GCs. So this B-C pillar is actually ready to install. I'm going to go ahead and check out all the other tabs on the other C pillar, and then I'll install both at the same time. Okay, guys, I'm actually double checking all the metal tabs on my other B-C pillar. This one is actually missing it. It's broken on one side. You can see on this side it's there, but on this side it's missing. And the same on this one. On this side is missing, but on this side, it's actually there. Pretty common thing when these suckers get yanked out, one of those little metal little tabs will get snapped off of these metal little clips. Okay, guys, I'm gonna try to show you a close-up of pushing one of these clips in. Here's this little clip, and basically you just put that right over the top, lock in place like that. Boom. All right, guys, I've double checked all these clips. They're all good to go. I replaced a couple of them. I repaired one of the plastic damaged little clips by gluing one of them in, which obviously makes that metal clip permanent. I think it's gonna work just fine. And I think it's definitely better than leaving that location with no clip at all to hold it in place. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to installing these suckers in this RS Coupe. Okay, guys, obviously we're inside the car, and a few things I'll point out. You have to actually remove this upper bolt right here for that seatbelt strap. So remove that upper bolt that holds that seatbelt, and then this little white clip right here, you can actually leave this one in because the B-C pillar trim panel actually goes in just above that little point. And then back here, you want to make sure you have these little plastic inserts installed for those two-part plastic clips. Those are those three yellow clips, which is basically right here. This is that plastic male end, and this plastic male end will pop into this white female end. And it looks like there's actually a couple clips right here that were never removed. So you got to make sure you remove all the old clips first. Let me go ahead and get some nail nose pliers and get these old clips removed first. Never really noticed there's old clips in here installed. These must have been rattling around just a little bit too. So basically these clips got kind of bent in the back, and it's going to be a bitch to get out. So you just kind of got to work them out without trying not to damage a bunch of the metal. Gosh, I hate that. Ah, that's a mangled little metal clip. That thing was just wreaking havoc. God, I hate when that happens. Oh, here's another one right here. So, got another metal clip still installed. Because it's got a little tang that was probably bent backwards. Ah, these are tricky to get out. I'm probably doing it the wrong way. This is probably an example of what you guys don't do. This is every once in a while. That's the value I provide, guys. This is exactly what you don't do. There's gotta be a better way to do this. Somebody comment on how to do this the right way. This thing's all mangled and finagled in there and there's no way to get it out. Except for just kind of slowly twisting it out and just fucking scratching the shit out of this little, I mean, of course it's gonna be hidden. God damn it. Come out, you bitch. That is the second little finagled, mangled ass little metal clip. It is just a bitch to get out once they're twisted up inside that slot. Yeah, nice. Well, of course, this is all gonna be covered up with these, you know, plastic trim panels. That's pretty much exactly what they're for. Nevertheless, I hate scratching the shit out of this car. God. All right, we're good to go. All right, I think I got them all in place. Basically, the trick of these clips is you basically just want to apply perpendicular force to each one of those clips. You don't want to push them in at kind of a skewed angle. Try to get directly on top of each one of those clips and then push it straight into that hole. As you guys can see in this one, all the seams at the top are nice and clean. It's real flush against everything on the window. On the back side over here, that panel is completely flush and in the correct location. All right, guys, that's the driver's side done. Do a little close-up view here. Sorry if I'm blocking a little bit of the light with my body, but it's just what it is with a tight spot. As you can see, it's really nice and trim around the top. Good gap, nice and flush, all on the headliner. And then move down right here. Of course, the seatbelt bolt will go in right there. And then, of course, that little plastic clip that holds the seatbelt is just below that little panel piece. And then over here, you can kind of see that it's nice and flush against that rear window. And basically this panel is looking legit. So we'll move on down to the quarter panels right here next. Okay guys, here are those rear quarter panels. This of course is that fabric pattern for the RS models. Other GC models didn't quite have this pattern. I think this is one of the nicest patterns that Subaru put together for any of the interiors. And when you flip it over, I'll show you guys what kind of clips it has in the back. On the back here, on kind of the straight edge side, it's got 3 clips right here, as you can see, 3 of these white little clips. And over here, there's another white clip. And then on this side, there's gonna be plastic clips that go in from the outside. So you don't have to worry about these 2 holes right now. And then on the bottom, there's a number of plastic clip holes as well. These are plastic clips that are gonna go in after you install this panel, and they actually connect the door sill panel pieces to this rear quarter panel. And you can kind of see that as I flip it back over. Right here, where you see there's kind of an indentation, that I believe is where those sill panel plates are going to come up and meet up with this rear quarter panel. Okay guys, got the B-C Pillar Panel in and the rear quarter panel in. This is looking legit. Here's that rear quarter panel. Okay, I actually kind of misled you on these rear ones. There is a plastic clip right here. Let me try to get in there with the light. That is a plastic clip, kind of a little plastic barb clip that holds this piece of the quarter panel to this panel right here and holds it flush along that little line right there. But down here, these aren't clips. These are actually little screws down here and right here. There's two screws on the back of these quarter panels. And the screws that I used are actually this screw right here. This is a screw for your center console that kind of screws your center console down to your body. These screws are about the perfect diameter and size. They have the perfect little flat, flush head surface on them and the perfect diameter for the head that holds the panel down nicely. So that's what those little screws kind of look like. And I don't think they're the exact correct OEM factory screw that was originally holding this panel in, but they're the perfect diameter and they work just fine. And it's a factory screw nonetheless. So I'm gonna go with that because that looks legit. Here incidentally is where the rear seatbelt comes out. So I don't have a rear seatbelt for this car. I'm gonna have to come up with a little cover panel for this or something at some point. That'll be an interesting little project someday. But for now, I can kind of go ahead and move on to getting these rear seat cushions installed in the car, which is a really nice step to do because then from that point forward, you can kind of sit in those rear seat cushions while you're working on the front part of the car, while you're working on the dash or any other components of the car. It's really nice to have those rear seat cushions in your car. So I'm looking forward to getting those installed and moving on with the interior restoration on this 98 RS Coupe. So thanks so much for checking out the video, guys. I really appreciate it. This 98 RS Coupe is really coming along with that interior restoration. If you guys have any questions or any comments, please leave them in the comment section. If you guys need any fluids or any tools or any maintenance parts for your Subarus, check out my SubaruONLY Amazon page. You can see the details in the description below. Thanks again for checking out the video, guys. I really appreciate it. My name's Luke. You guys are watching the SubaruONLY channel. And until next time, guys, later.